is the real Maxwell Jacob Friedman, the man behind this mask of ultra confidence and mystique, a man that never lets that mask slip. One of the things that makes MJF stand out from the pack is his eagerness to avoid breaking kayfabe at all times. This not only blurs the lines between fiction and reality, but it also opens up the questions: what is he really like, and is this the real him? Well, in today's video we explore those questions and take a look at the man underneath the scarf and reveal 10 facts MJF doesn't want you to know. You won't believe the reason for his first ever ring name, as before Max would be billed as his semi-real name of Maxwell Jacob Friedman, with his actual middle name being Tyler, he would experiment with some other monikers in the early days of his career.
My name's Maxwell Jacob Feinstein, and I'm better than you. And you know it.
He would wrestle his first match on record for Create a Pro Wrestling, the school that trained him, working as Maxwell Jacob Feinstein, with his debut taking place on February 13th, 2015. He started working for Combat Zone Wrestling 6 months later under the name of Pete Lightning, a name that he only used in the New Jersey-based promotion, before reverting back to the Feinstein name in CZW2. By this point, he was simultaneously appearing in different promotions as Maxwell Jacob Feinstein and Maxwell Jacob Friedman, with him rotating which name he used depending on where he was working at the time. He would later drop the Feinstein name completely in June 2018 with the likes of William Regal, who was scouting him for WWE at the time, as well as Gabe Sapolsky and Tommy Dreamer being some of the names to convince him to change it. And the reason for the change? Well, the name was actually suggested by Max himself when coach Brian Myers wanted a new ring name for him, who was then more than happy to go with Feinstein, although little did Max know that this was a complete rib. And how was it a rib? Well, the original founder of both Ring of Honor and RF Video was Rob Feinstein, somebody who was caught by TV cameras attempting to meet up with a 14-year-old boy back in 2004, before he was later forced to resign from both companies. Yeah, that's not how you expected this section to end, is it? Okay, let's end it on a lighter note, as Max would go by a fourth name for 3 shows in July 2018, working as Sandy Bunker for a promotion named Old Wrestling. The company would hold parody shows that were in storylines set in the year 1939, with Bunker being the territory's resident golfer. Max is known for his serious approach to the wrestling business, with his inspiration grounded firmly in the work of the heels of yesteryear. With that said, he has in fact worked for perhaps the least serious wrestling company on the internet, GTS Wrestling. GTS Wrestling is a backyard promotion ran by no other than Grimm's Toy Show, a comedy YouTuber known for his vlogs and huge wrestling figure collection. Friedman would make his debut during Grimm's rivalry with Max's coach Brian Myers over the GTS YouTube Championship. He was first involved in a training session segment, which was interrupted by Grimm, leading to Max's first physicality, this before being later reintroduced as a comedy police officer named Officer Feinstein, arresting Grimm on his official debut.
I recognize that voice! No! God damn it! Feinstein! All I wanted was my tape back!
Later down the line, Max would eventually be revealed as one of the members of the villainous Clown Corp in cahoots with JD from New York, another YouTuber you're probably familiar with. The storyline would then see a ladder match with MJF's sex tape hanging above the ring. Yeah, that's a whole other story. A match that he would lose before being chased out of GTS Wrestling for good.
That's what I thought! What a puss!
MJF has taken a loss to some of the greats of the modern era during his time in AEW, names such as CM Punk and Jon Moxley. With that said, he has been heavily protected in All Elite Wrestling since the very beginning, often being given an excuse as to why he lost. However, before his rise in the land of All Elite, he would wrestle and lose to some names that may surprise you. Longtime fans of AEW may remember the name Marco Stunt, a pint-sized wrestler who rose to relative fame when he crossed the barricade at a Game Changer Wrestling show in August 2018 to accept an open challenge from KTB. Stunt would become a regular on GCW shows there on out, and during his run, he would score a win over Maxwell Jacob Friedman, this just 7 months after his first win over Max at an AAW show in Chicago. And finally, the All In event of September 2018 is considered to be the very first AEW show, or at least the pilot for what was to come, with the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes' independent super show ultimately spawning into a promotion of its own. The opening match of the night would see MJF take on Matt Cross, with Max impressing to the point that he was handed a contract with AEW. However, unfortunately for the man that claims to be better than you, he wasn't better than Cross that night, as he would come up short thanks to an impressive shooting star press. This is of course something Max forgets to mention when bragging about being in the first match at All In.
Welcome all my friends to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Most of you will be familiar with an appearance from a young MJF on the Rosie O'Donnell show, this after his parents submitted a clip of their angelic son to the producers, with him catching the eye of the once popular host.
Please don't take my sunshine away.
This wouldn't be the end of his time as a young Frank Sinatra, however, as Max would go on to pursue singing throughout his school years. He would make up part of an acapella group in high school named the Acapellas, with a teenage Max singing as a tenor too. There are multiple clips online of the group still available that showcase not only his singing voice, but also his ability to rap.
Dressed in a leopard mink, girl standing next to me. Probably should have watched this. Smells like R. Kelly sheets. But man, it was not said.
The first time his singing met wrestling was in CZW during his feud with Joey Janela, this when MJF found himself on a date with Penelope Ford, Janela's on-screen and then real-life girlfriend. The extremely convincing segment would showcase a side that fans hadn't seen before, and as it played out, Max would become caring and vulnerable. After getting along like a house on fire, Max would reveal that he was in a choir in high school before being convinced to show off his skills.
Okay. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. That's it. That's the sample, okay?
That was so good.
The brilliant short film would end with a scene in a taxi where a smitten MJF opened up about never being liked, explaining that Penelope is the only person to have taken the time to get to know the real him. This before Ford's phone rang as you-know-who called, reminding him of the reality of the situation. Another hidden talent of Max that was also seen during his time in high school was on the gridiron, with him tipped as a rising star in football. Whilst MJF now states that he hates wrestling, often referring to fans as marks, he is in fact a huge fan himself, so much so that he gave up a prosperous opportunity at becoming a footballer in order to pursue his dream as a professional wrestler. Following a very successful run at Plainview Old Bethpage John F. Kennedy High School, Max would apply for a scholarship at Hartwick College in New York, with him taking an interesting approach to grab the coach's attention. He would upload a compilation of his high school tackles onto the website Huddle, this with Real American, Hulk Hogan's WWE entrance music playing in the background. After being accepted into the college, Friedman went into what was known as Hell Week, impressing so much so that the coach told him that he was thinking of starting him. Despite the success, Max would begin to have doubts as to if his future lied in football, doubts that he expressed to his roommate at the time, telling him that he wanted to be a pro wrestler instead, with the roommate reacting by simply leaving the room without saying a word. Max was then called to the coach's office the next day, who told him bluntly that he's not going anywhere due to the money that they'd invested in bringing him in, before assigning him an accountability buddy to ensure that he doesn't leave campus. This 6'6" offensive lineman then followed MJF around for 2 days. Max would eventually wait for the accountability buddy to leave his post late at night before packing up his stuff, heading to his truck and driving home. As a bonus note, remember when MJF assigned accountability buddy Sean Spears to keep an eye on Wardlow towards the end of their working relationship? Well, this was a reference to the real life occurrence during Max's short college stint. When he was on the independent scene, MJF would make 3 appearances in WWE as an extra as well as in a bonus online clip. His first WWE appearance would take place in an audition video for the 2015 edition of Tough Enough, where hopefuls were told to send in a promo as part of the audition process. Whilst he didn't make the show, Max's audition would be uploaded to the official WWE YouTube channel 2 months before the first episode, something that can still be found to this day. In the clip, he would send a message to Triple H telling him why he should be chosen for the show.
So Trip, the question isn't if I'm tough enough. The question is, are you smart enough to know when the future of your company is looking at you dead in the face?
Max would then appear on screen twice in 2016, first at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. He would work as an extra, acting as security to NXT champion Samoa Joe as he made his way to face Shinsuke Nakamura in the show's main event, receiving a shove for his efforts. One thing we can confirm is the moment was indeed planned, despite speculation of the contrary, with MJF later confirming that Joe told him what he was going to do ahead of time, feeling it would get a good reaction from the crowd, which it did.
And before we start shooting it, Samoa Joe goes like, he looks at me, he's like, I feel like if I shoved you, I'd get a good reaction. And I was like, okay. We're walking and he shoves me and I go flying for him, and the crowd pops huge.
And finally, when you think of talking smack, which moment comes to mind first? I bet 99% of you thought of the Miz's promo on Daniel Bryan. Well, did you know that during that very same episode, a wild MJF could be spotted? 2 days after the NXT Brooklyn extra work, MJF appeared on the August 23rd episode of Talking Smack, where he could be seen breaking up a brawl between Carmella and Nikki Bella.
Are you okay? Are you okay, Nicole?
As we all know, Maxwell Jacob Friedman is a man of wealth and taste, and he's been around for a long years. But did you know that in his search for the perfect entrance music, he went down the cheapest route possible? We're not talking about the license for the Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil, which I'm sure he made Tony Khan push the boat out for before his return at AEW All Out 2022. No, I'm talking about his typical entrance theme, which AEW renamed to Better Than You.
It's the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
The song is in fact part of the YouTube Audio Library, a collection of music that the website allows creators to use in their videos for absolutely free to avoid the headaches of copyright claims. If you go to the YouTube Music Library and search for Dig Deep by R.W. Smith, this angry hip-hop and rap tune will sound very familiar, as it is the exact music MJF uses as he makes his way to the ring. And you can use it for free in your videos without the need to ask for permission, much like Max did during his time on the independent circuit up until this day. In the lead up to his AEW World title match against then champion Jon Moxley at All Out, Max would recruit a team of campaign staff to help him with the MJF 2020 movement. The individuals that made up his campaign team include a champion of All Elite Wrestling, as well as somebody that was named after Max's own mother, with him no doubt not wanting to give credit where it's due in this situation, but we'll do it anyway. Let's start with Savannah Thorne, who played the role of Nina, forcing a smile during Max's speeches. Savannah was and still is an independent wrestler who eventually went on to work one match on AEW Dark, although she would not be picked up by the company despite being one of the highlights of the MJF 2020 act. The name Nina appears to be a nod to Nina Friedman, who is of course Max's mother and biggest fan. Another name on the team was Mark Sterling, somebody who trained at the same Creator Pro Wrestling school as Max, which likely helped him get his foot in the door. Lee Johnson is another current AEW name on the team, who was a regular on AEW Dark when that was still around, with him now engaged to the House of Black's Julia Hart. Independent wrestler Randy Wentworth also worked as an extra on the campaign team. And finally, the most prominent name that Max recruited for the MJF 2020 movement was his gum guy, who would be on hand for all of his chewing needs. Under the bandana was fellow Creator Pro graduate Hook, who has since gone on to become a prominent part of All Elite Wrestling Television, holding the FTW Championship. We opened this video up with 2 questions concerning the real Maxwell Jacob Friedman, those being what is he really like and is this the real him? While there are many clues out there that help us come to the conclusion that Max is in fact a little more humble than he makes out to be, with him simply being a wrestling fan that's living out his dream, not afraid to pay tribute to those that inspired him or paved the way to get to where he is today.
I deserve it, because I'm the best wrestler in the fucking world. And every single one of you know it. On this microphone, in the ring, nobody can touch me.
Throughout Max's work, many nods and references can be found to those he grew up watching, whether it be quotes from old CM Punk promos, the Burberry pattern on his scarf that pays homage to Roddy Piper's tartan kilt, with him even borrowing a catchphrase from Jim Cornette.
Thank you, bye.
There are also 2 personal tributes that are worth mentioning that come in the form of a tattoo, as well as a jacket he once wore after toppling CM Punk in Chicago. The tattoo in question is positioned in a place that can't be seen during his matches, this on his right shin underneath his wrestling boot. When the boot is removed, you can find a tattoo of the logo for the Create a Pro Wrestling school, the school that trained him, a place he clearly holds close to his heart.
I happen to love this place so much that I got it tattooed on my leg.
The week after MJF defeated CM Punk twice in Chicago back in February 2022, Max would be carried into Atlantic City aloft a throne wearing a blue suit jacket. He would then later reveal on Twitter that this jacket once belonged to his late grandfather, who passed away 2 years prior, a man he credits for teaching him how to style and strut. And the final tribute we'll mention is one that's a little bit more subtle, this being when MJF brags about being part of the greatest singles dog collar match in history.
Best singles dog collar match of all time? Check.
Notice how he mentions singles dog collar match. Whilst this isn't confirmed from the man himself, I'm led to believe that he makes this distinction to not position his battle with CM Punk above the incredible tag team dog collar match between FTR and the Briscoes, which occurred just months prior to the passing of Jay Briscoe. And now let's move on to the most telling entry of the video, and probably the thing MJF wants you to know the least about, and that's the shoot interviews that saw him completely pull back the curtain and drop the MJF persona altogether.
Behind that complete bullshit mask of me being confident is me being a neurotic, anxiety, Jewish-ridden kid. Like, anxiety-ridden.
Yeah, I think
like,
you
switch it.
In November 2018, 2 months before he was announced as part of the All Elite Wrestling roster, MJF would sit down with real-life friend Ethan Page, who had just launched a new show on the High Spots Wrestling Network named Egos Amigos. The series sees wrestlers sit down with Ethan in a shoot interview format to discuss their careers thus far, as well as some of the secrets to their success.
No, I'm talking about the boys not understanding that there's character and then there's
That's what happens with him a lot.
Yeah, because you don't turn it off.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
I don't think that's true at all.
I don't think
What?
that's true.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, he doesn't do it with me.
Alongside Ricky Shane Page, Maxwell would completely break character to detail his philosophy towards wrestling and, rather ironically, the importance of maintaining kayfabe at all times, whether it be during meet and greets or sometimes even in the locker room. According to Max, his mindset even had some of his colleagues on the independents questioning who he really was, although it's clear from the interview that he's actually just a really cool guy. Just don't call him MJF.
That is
Don't call me that
as much
during this goddamn interview.
Also on the High Spots network, MJF would appear on the Sorry You're Watching This series hosted by New York-based wrestler Dan Berry shortly after, before making a second appearance on Egos Amigos alongside AEW's Ricky Starks, filmed right before the latter's debut on AEW Dynamite in June 2020. And before you go, make sure you check out the 12 most obscure WWE appearances from AEW wrestlers.